You're probably here because you're finding it a little bit difficult in finding your way about leadership, finding your way on how to manage people well, and finding your way on how to grow your business as an entrepreneur. Any one of these things are the topics that we cover. I'm your host, Tiongson, aka Mr. CEO at 22. I am so glad that you took the first step of being here to learn more about leadership, entrepreneurship, and management because the world needs more people like you. We will help you to invest in yourself because that's something that is worth doing. That is something that is worth learning. If you have questions about entrepreneurship, maybe you're having problems at work or you're having some leadership problems or managing other people, boy, I have news for you. We have what we call a masterclass. Most of the courses in the masterclass deal with how you can generate revenue online. It deals with leadership, how to lead in crisis, how to break through the crisis in business, in entrepreneurship, and how you can manage other people better. Now, I always say the best kind of investment is an investment in yourself. And how much money are we charging for this masterclass? Not a lot. And if you invest in one, it's yours to keep. And if it doesn't, I'll refund you, no questions asked, full refund. So why don't you try it out? Head on over to sean.c/masterclass and check out any one of the courses if it fits any one of the questions in your head. And if you have any questions, you can just put it on the comment section and we'll get in touch with you. We want to know who you are and we want to hear from you. Until then, keep leading.
All right. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight on the show. We have for tonight a very special guest, Mr. Randell Tiongson, and he's going to be joining us somewhere 8:30. So I'm giving you a heads up that he is doing his best to try and join us tonight as early as he can. But for the meantime, I am going to be the one answering the questions that you have until he's able to come on board. So, if you haven't yet, we have all the questions at Discord channel. So there is the link right there from the Chan.c/Discord. You can join the Discord channel and send in your questions over there. If you have business questions, leadership questions, entrepreneurship management questions, you can post it there and we will be getting to answering them. We are also on Spotify. If you haven't followed us yet on Spotify, please do so. That will help us tons. This is a work of love and passion, and we are doing this to pay it forward and to help you guys figure out this thing called business, this thing called leadership, because it took me a while to figure it out myself. So we have some new episodes that have come out on Spotify. There's 3 this week, June 15, 16, 17. And we have Leaving the Comfort Zone to Be a Leader. We have Steve Rogers as guest for that. Yes, that's his name, Steve Rogers with a D. He is not Captain America, but he is someone that I look up to and has worked for some companies that Warren Buffett owns and has seen the man himself, actually. We have the Entrepreneur's Guide to Work-Life Balance, which is an AMA episode. It's episode number 210. Could you believe it? We have 200 plus episodes already on the podcast. 211, How to Use Your Fear as Fuel for Growth. So that's it. 3 episodes this week. Hope you enjoy them. They are also going to be published on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't followed us yet on YouTube, please do so. We are really rooting for a lot more followers and subscribers on YouTube. Right now, we don't have a lot. I think we have like somewhere 800. And yeah, it will help us tons. There we go. We have a lot of videos. We have the playlists also for you, organized based on what you might want to learn. So there's marketing, keys to success, brand building, client management, handling failures, and so on. So that is leadership stack on YouTube. Please do join us there if you want. If you prefer to go with go with video instead of audio only on Spotify. That is one of the ways you can do it. So there we go. Hope that helps. And if you haven't yet, Discord channel questions are still coming in. Let's go ahead and pop in the first question. From Patrick, why is managing finances more behavioral based? Well, managing finances, why is it behavior? Because whatever you actually do is what is going to be affecting your finances. So why we say it's more behavior based than anything else is because when we say behavior, it's actually what builds habits. And habits are so important because habits are what you do on autopilot. These are things that you don't think about, that you just do. And so a lot of people today, their just do it habit sometimes involves just opening Shopee and Lazada. And those are wonderful e-commerce platforms, but once you spend time with them unnecessarily and unproductively, you start buying stuff that you don't need. And that's not going to be good for you. So it is behavior based. It has a lot to do with your habits, the habits that you build. And so I'd say you have to change behaviors from the mind. You have to invest in what you will know and what you will practice in behavior so that your habits are going to follow your behavior. And you read a lot of books, personal finance management. Randell Tiongson, who is going to come in as our guest later, is actually the author of the book No Nonsense Personal Finance, which is a really, really good book to read. And that has the 5 levels of personal finance management that you have to follow. And it's an amazing book for you to read. Another author that I do recommend and have personally read is Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. That's more of they have a US culture in the book, but it's also the same principles, the 5 steps to personal finance management, which is really the fundamentals of what you have to follow and what you have to do if you want a good foundation in your personal finance management. We have some shout outs. Jason, Matthew, Lamar. Hello. Thank you so much for having me on your show last weekend. Yes, last weekend. And I look forward to being a guest on your podcast as well. We have Mr. Patrick Miguel. Good evening. And Randell is not here, but I'm sure he's on the way. And I have a lot of questions on finance. I have a lot of questions on crypto, which I look forward to a lot. I look forward to Randall answering them actually. But so let me see. Should I answer some of them now? Okay. I'll answer a little bit now. And I'm going to ask Randall the same thing later on. So through the years of investing, been a follower for many years now. What finally made you invest in crypto? I think this question's for Randall, but I am going to answer it myself. Well, I did invest in crypto. I do have a couple cryptos that I have invested in, and I'm still invested in, holding. And I did invest in them because I want to see how it works, how much it fluctuates. I am someone who loves learning stuff, and I want to learn how to win in this investment vehicle as well. I think a lot of cryptocurrencies have a good fundamental in terms of usability or use cases. I don't like the volatility. I don't like the speculations that are way out of this world, but I do like the use cases for cryptocurrency. The good use cases. I do like the good use cases for cryptocurrency. So I think that it has good potential. And the earlier you invest in them, the better, and the more you can see it where things are going. So I think it's just good to have like a stake in the ground with crypto. I don't really recommend you putting a lot of money that you can't lose. Well, definitely don't put money that you're not willing to lose in crypto. So just put a little bit, see where it goes. I'm a conservative investor. That's why this is the advice you're gonna get from me. If you're gonna listen to other more aggressive investors, I'm sure they tell you differently to put a lot of money in it. But for me, just put what money can lose and don't put a lot because it's very volatile. If you can't swallow the volatility and watch your investments go red from time to time, then I suggest don't invest in them. That's not going to be for you. So yeah. Who do you consider your biggest influence in life and why? Well, it's going to be the Bible. So it's going to be the Word of God and God Himself in the form of Jesus Christ. I read the Bible every day. Aside from that, it's going to have to be one of my mentors, Pastor Dennis C. And he's the senior pastor of Victory VCF Makati right now, I think. He used to be VCF Green Hill senior pastor. He's the one who mentored me from when I was 13 years old all the way to 19, which would be, I would say, still the time that I was being shaped as a man. So that's some of my shaping years. And he taught me how to be a real man, how to treat women right, how to read the Word of God, put it as a priority in my life. He taught me he taught me a lot of things that I didn't get to hear from my dad, or I didn't get to I didn't learn from my dad. So I'd say I learned it from Pastor Dennis C, and that is a big thing. That's a big his influence in my life is a big deal for me, and I can't pay that back. So without those years with Pastor Dennis, I'd say I'd be a very different man right now, and I mean that in a negative way. So I'd probably not be who I am in this way that you guys know me. Huh. Okay, what is the story behind your amazing side hustle? Side hustle. I think I'm not sure if this is a question for me or Randall, but so if some of you guys don't know, if you're tuned in on YouTube, Facebook, you guys are on everywhere, Periscope, Twitch, and some of you guys may not know, but SEO Hacker, my business, it all started from a blog. And this blog called God and You, which, the articles are still existent in my website, sean.c. They were written by me. Not a lot of people were reading my stuff. And I had to research about how to increase my readers and how to increase my subscribers. And this thing called SEO kept popping up. So I applied it to the God and You blog, and it ranked. And I pretty much journaled everything I was learning in the SEO Hacker blog, which you know now. I mean, SEO Hacker is the brand we have. It's the name of my business and company, but it wasn't a business back then. It wasn't, I didn't aspire to be a business person, to be honest. It was just a blog, and people started inquiring, like, how do you do SEO? Can you do SEO for my company? Can you do SEO for this business? Can I refer you to someone? And yeah, that's how the business started. I was a freelancer. That was my side hustle while I was working a full-time day job. And 5 months in my full-time day job, I resigned because I had to focus on SEO Hacker. I left in a really good way. So I turned over everything, trained my replacement, and I went full-time in SEO Hacker. That was like 11 years ago already. And right now, SEO Hacker has grown to a 50-man team, and we are enjoying what we do. We love what we do. We love working with each other. And yeah, that's how it started. Very humble beginnings, I'd say. And I'd also ask this to Randall. He just came in, and I just want to introduce you guys to this amazing guy who has influenced the Philippine industry, the Philippine scene. Actually, a lot of people here in the Philippines was influenced by him in terms of personal finance management. And it is an amazing privileged to have him on the show tonight. Mr. Randell Tiongson, welcome to the show.
Hey, Sean, congratulations on your podcast.
Oh,
I think a lot of people are benefiting and being blessed by what you do for the podcast. So, hello, good
thank you.
evening.
It's all the work of love, work of passion we paid forward, and all glory to God. And likewise with what you do on your podcast and YouTube, loving
I
it. Keep it up. I mean,
I'm not as productive as you guys. I try to, I just, maybe that medium is, it's way too difficult for somebody like me. But I'll try. I mean, I haven't stopped doing it, but I'm still trying. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you got good traction there, especially in YouTube. You got 8,000, 9,000 subscribers. We have 830 subscribers on YouTube. We're still working on it, so
Oh.
you're way ahead, and that's something. That's something, right? So
And for somebody who doesn't put out videos as often, I think the last video I put out was like over a month ago. So I I should do it like maybe every week or at the very least twice a month. But let's see. I don't
kaya kaya yan. Kaya yan. I know Icon has just finished.
yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, it was very successful. It was the first time we did it online. So it's a very first virtual conference for Icon. We should have been doing it live. You've spoken there maybe twice already, in the past. We've done it. We usually do it live. We attract a lot of people. Last year, we were thinking about going online. Wasn't too sure. Didn't know if people will support it the way they did before. So, parang was really get into that. Pasang gulo-gulo rin last year. So we decided this year, Marvin and I decided that maybe we should try. But, we were surprised with the result. A lot of people supported it. We've had, I think, one of the things that happened is we were able to get people who normally couldn't come to Icon, OFWs, those in the provinces. So maybe 30% were, coming from
Wow,
that normally, maybe even more.
that's amazing. So
Yeah.
they heard it for pretty much the first time, huh?
Yeah. So,
Galing.
and then, of course, we had to devise a way that they can watch the replays and stuff like that. So it was a different ball game. Unlike in live, you really have no choice. Now after the live, there's no way for you to rewatch it and stuff. But this time we did something about it. So we were replaying recordings to those who was able to watch it. So that some of
Yeah.
them sometimes the materials, the information was too much to handle. So now they can they have the privilege of rewatching and taking processing it better.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really, really good. I'm super
I see,
happy
I see
you
a
did it.
planted tanks at your back.
Which one?
I see a planted tanks at your back. Wow.
Yeah, that's a hobby I went into last year.
Yeah,
So
I've been doing that since I was a kid. So
talaga?
I still do it. I'm but I'm into more marine aquarium. So I've always been in marine aquarium. So I
Right.
did the planted tanks a few years back. I got so bored. You're, if you're doing reef tanks, no marine tanks, parang everything's easy afterwards.
Talaga? I haven't tried. I'm so
It's
more of freshwater.
It's time consuming. It's more
Oh,
science
I'm
than
sure.
anything else. So yeah, and
I'm
expensive.
sure. I mean, the salinity, you have to test it out and stuff.
That's the least of your concern. I check nitrates, phosphate, alkalinity, calcium, magnesium,
Oh
putting it in
my.
the right balance. And when you do, you see your corals will grow to that point that you can even start propagating it and actually selling it. So,
Wow.
mhm.
That's amazing. That's a
Yeah.
whole new world I haven't delved into
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. Opposite the planted, because in the planted you need phosphate. In the tank, in the marine
Yeah.
tank, you want to reduce that because it's going to cause algae growth. So stuff like this.
Right. Right. Yeah. True that. True that. All right. So I'm glad you got in early, relatively,
Yeah,
and
rush back
we got a
home.
lot of questions.
Ah,
Actually,
go.
almost all of them for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
the first one would be I'll pick this one. So
Okay.
through the years of investing, because I'm also interested in your answer here. Patrick says, through years of investing, been a follower for many years now. What finally made you invest in crypto?
Uh, you know, the thing with crypto, no, I first encountered it maybe 2016. Was looking at that 2017, was starting at 2018 all the way to 2020. I was really looking at for it. But I think the pandemic made me see that the world is changing. Technology is playing a bigger role. We're entering Web 3.0. We've entered Web 3.0. We're looking for alternatives. How, localized, let's say, I've been looking at the Philippine stock market for the longest time. How, a pandemic can change business models and so forth and so on. So, and then I saw the cryptocurrency scene is too big to ignore. I mean, maybe 2 years ago, I would probably say stay away from it, but it's now too big. No, it's entering the mainstream, and I guess it's an opportune time for me to come into. So, of course, I'm looking for growth, no, looking for ways to grow my money as well, and not be left behind. So I got into that. So plus, influences from Marvin Guillermo, Tony Herbosa, these are friends of mine, and when they're getting into it, especially Tony would spend enough time to teach me, and then I got a little bit of that, tried it out, and and learned it along the way. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's because a lot of people thought I'd be the last person to come in, but then I wasn't. So, but I did. So in fact, I guess some of the finance people felt betrayed that I went into crypto and so.
Really?
Yeah, these are the purists. They feel that parang, oh, Randell, you represent us. You know these things, and here you are, talking about crypto. So I'm also careful. No, I don't really broadcast a lot about it, but seems to be that your follower know that I've ventured into crypto also. What I do there is I minimize my exposure. So I've been trying to tell a lot of people, you have to understand that in investing there's a pyramid, and that pyramid, the crypto is at the top of that pyramid. It means that my exposure there will never be equal to, let's say, my equity portfolio, so, or property. For now, I mean, for now, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Same here. So I answered a little bit earlier. I answered this question earlier. So same here. My exposure is very limited, especially if you're a conservative investor, and you can't swallow the volatility.
Yeah, it's part like if the market, the stock market, siguro drops by 30%, people will go crazy. I mean, everybody says it's the end of the world, no? But 30% drop in the crypto market is just a 1 week thing. So something that they can go as much as 80% drop. So I guess the volatility is wild, but there's also the opportunity for growth is there also.
Yeah, good answer. Here's another question. What's your outlook on the Philippine macroeconomy?
Do you want a safe answer? Do you want an answer that that typical answer finance people in the press that
No, probably not.
I'll give you words like cautiously optimistic. Those things that to say. It's not looking too good. I believe. Of course, there has to be a benchmark. No, if my benchmark is going to be our neighbors, we are lagging behind it because we've taken a longer time to try to the vaccine, opening the economy, things like mass testing, and that's having an impact on the economy in general. So again, that's a problem. So I guess in that case, we are lagging in terms of recovery. It's going to take a longer time for us. A lot of the economies have begun to open. We are lagging. We're still in the process of how do we open it up more. And of course, we bundled. It took us a while to get a groove managing the pandemic. So that's having a problem in the economy. No, that's why unemployment is high and productivity side, supply side is not yet there. Demand has been low, so it's going to take a longer time for us to recover. But we're seeing signs of growth. So we have to be more patient. Maybe you need to give the Philippine economy, maybe a 2-year reprieve. Do not expect much this year and maybe next year, but I believe we're going to be in full swing in 2 years from now.
Got it. Did you? So when this is a personal
channel, so opportunities to take a look at. Hey, what can I do now that we're waiting? Do I buy? Do I start investing? So there's opportunities on that. Do I look at certain businesses that will do well during this time? So there's the economy is slowing down, the economy recovering slower, notwithstanding, there are opportunities that for us to find there.
Got it. When the pandemic hit and everything was going down in the PH equities, did you funnel it out to the US and with their growth last
No,
year?
I added more actually. I added more, but I also started to put in technology. I started putting. I've seen it. I was looking at technology for quite some time, but the thing with technology, everything is really just in the US, Europe. I mean, it's
Yeah.
virtually no technology investments in the Philippines. So I was taking a look at some funds that are primarily technology driven, feeder funds. It took my while. No? 2018, I was looking at it. 2019. Before I plunged was 2020, which I'm glad I did because that generated my biggest growth since last year. Of course, I also came in some stocks that I felt were good to buy, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was last year was crazy with technology stocks, and yeah, that
But
was
if you
really
trade
good.
in crypto last year, you would have made a killing today. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also the case. Yeah, true
It's
that.
actually, I was happy with my 60% growth, 30%, 40%, and everybody's talking about in multiples of X, no? 6X, 4X, 5X, 10X. So kind of
Yeah,
changed the perspective. Yeah.
yeah. I know someone who made like 10x. Yeah.
I did 11. I did 11 on one crypto,
Wow.
but it's more like a fluke because I bought it as a joke. I was chatting with Marvin Guillermo, and I just bought it like a joke. It's like a joke, so I didn't have volume, but it's kind of nice to see an 11 or two, even 12x. Kind of nice to
Wow.
experience that. It's that feeling, but no volume. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, baliwala. I
Yeah.
I sold it and bought something else. So
Makes a nice story.
yeah, it's another story. So it's just such a small because I just bought it as a joke, no? Parang kaya I put a little bit of money here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Doge.
Marvin didn't buy it for a joke though.
Yeah, Marvin's a different creature. It's not, you know, the good thing about Marvin is a lot of the things he does is not scalable and repeatable enough to us ordinary normal people. So Marvin's
Yeah.
an extraordinary individual. So
Yeah, he is.
and yeah, so he's just taking things and that and then that guy can build volume faster than anybody else. So,
Yeah. Grabe. I have a question here. I'm not sure
Hmm.
because I don't know the story, but I'm super interested to know what's the story behind your amazing side hustle.
that's a funny. A lot of people are actually messaging me, and I could see around in this office is like a lot of stuff that I need to prepare for Father's Day, because it's like a big thing. Okay, I've always been, I've always loved working in the kitchen. I'm a finance guy, but I love cooking. I love preparing dishes, experimenting on dishes, primarily because I need to feed my family. And I since I love food for obvious reasons. I love food. I like eating well. I like, experimenting. I don't like to raise my kids not knowing many. I don't like my kids to grow up knowing KFC and Jollibee and McDonald's lang. Anything else ayaw nila. So I want them to try good food. But I'm also a finance guy, and the limitations of raising a family is challenging. I have 4 kids. So I said, if I want them to eat good food, but I'm not willing to pay restaurant prices, might as well learn how to cook this. And I do cook before, even when I was single. But over the years, I've built on that muscle. So just cooking and cooking. Then later on, that cooking spread to friends. That they would come to the house. I would entertain that. I would engage people, people I disciple. Uh, that became a thing. So going to my house, eating food, and then later on, I ventured into coffee. I became a coffee snob. So investing in better equipment and stuff. So it became like an experience. In fact, Marvin pinned my house and put it at Tiongson Angus Steakhouse or something like that. So people are now messaging me, and he did that because he would come to the house, eat good food, drink coffee, and friends would do that. So I've been doing that for years. You should see prior to the pandemic, you should see my place on a Christmas time. There's always like guests on a nightly basis. You know, all these were happening, and I built that muscle. So I was cooking. I was, people ask for food, I would send food. I want to bless the pastors, I would send them food. Uh, in the family gatherings, no, from Christmas. So they ask me, Randall, do this, do that, and learn things. Like, for instance, I was famous for baked salmon because a lot of people don't eat salmon, but if you present it that way, it's good. Like, my father never eats salmon except if it's what I make. Yeah, that's the only thing he eats. So,
Wow.
so parang ganyan yung the story because I was cooking. Now, last year, okay, since I have a niece, she's famous, no? She has a company called Purple Walk. I mean, she provides food for the artistas, all these very viral and very crazy stuff. But sabi niya, Tito, there's a limit to what I can do. I cannot offer more. And she's a fan of my cooking. In fact, she's a big fan of my cooking. Sabi niya, yeah, Tito, you should be the one doing this, but you don't want to do that. So sabi niya, what if you start, just do one dish for me last Christmas. You do this dish for me, and my favorite among your dishes is this baked salmon in creamy caper sauce. What if let's experiment. Ako naman, finance people, we do a lot of talks and stuff like that, no? But pag December, ano na yan, it's a lean season. I mean, nobody wants to hear finances on a December. Nobody gets you to speak on investing on December, especially nearing Christmas. So my work and I can say that towards the second week of December, manuwag ako eh. I do, maybe that's when I write, I entertain a lot of people. But this time, pandemic, what do I do? So I had time. So sabi niya, why don't we try? So we said, but I was floored at the demand because she started to offer it and people read. And then by Christmas, people who ordered plus the magic of social media marketing stuff like that, we were floored. Between December 24, we started to get our orders. 24, I realized more people order for Eve than the day itself. So yun yung mga realization. From December to, it started 23. December 23 all the way to January 2. Kasi 31 was another one, January 1, and some people celebrate late. So between December 23 to January 2, and I was churning in one tray of salmon in like crazy. I think I baked like 130, 140 of them.
Wow.
So just imagine how many kilos of salmon that is. It's like a factory. So I said, wait. And I told my niece, I said, let's make it a seasonal thing. Seasonal lang. I mean, Christmas lang naman. I'm busy. When January comes in, I'm going to be busy. I do things like masterclass and all these things. I can't commit to that. So seasonal. Okay, seasonal. So that story. And, of course, no complaints with what I earned during that Christmas season. No, I mean, when I don't earn as a speaker, author, writer, I don't earn on a Christmas, but I earn for the first time in my life on a stuff that I do on a regular basis. Then January came in, people were still coming in with orders. Apparently, a lot of people, my niece had to stop accepting orders because we cannot churn out more food. Because she's also famous for some food. Sabi niya, Tito, we had to stop. So when January came in, people were, order na kami, blah, blah, blah. So things were coming in. So okay, maybe it's a spillover lang. Then she approached me. Sabi niya, can we make this more permanent? I know you're busy, I see you. But can we do this? Sabi niya, sige, I'll also have to find a way to, work it in my schedule. Come up a more system, more structure. So we were doing that. And then it was crazy, it was coming. Of course, the volume is nowhere near when it's Christmas. But I was like, almost on a daily basis, I was, I need to prepare something. And then, of course, seasons like Valentine's, we had more. Mother's Day was crazy. Father's Day, I think I have to stop. So it became more of that. Ako naman, I had to learn how to work it in my schedule, in my calendar. And it's challenging. And it was a period of time, wala pa ako ng house help. So it's just me and my wife. And and it was very, very tiring, very, very challenging. But knowing these things and the commitment that you have, you learn how to adjust it. I learned how to adjust. I learned how to work it in in my my system. In fact, you know, crazy. I would do a talk, and in that talk, there's gonna be a break. That break is gonna time for me to run to the kitchen, get it out of the oven, put up so my wife can send it to grab it. We've learned how to do that system. Or sometimes even my assistant will come in, and I remotely will tell him what to do in the kitchen, which is just I can see it from my office. So there's a glass door, so I see what's happening in the kitchen. So I've learned how to work in that structure. Challenge
Wow.
challenge lang when there's a lot of talks. Sometimes I do like 4 in a day, and then you have like 7 orders. Well, okay, yeah, and that stretches me. But I've learned to live with it, and of course, I've done that. And the biggest challenge was when I went to La Union. I was invited, and this is a funny thing. I was invited as a guest chef for my friend's place, no, and that's crazy. I had to prepare like 100 for 100 guests for 2 nights, something like that, limited. So I had to prepare
Wow.
stuff like that. So then I have to know. So my niece saying it's hard to explain to our clients that your food's not available. So sabi ko, yan nga yung problem ko. So moving forward, paano ako magbabakasyon ngayon? Yung mga ganyan. So, and
Yeah.
syempre, I don't want to tell anybody how I do it. So yun yung mga challenges na. So I'm learning to do that. And the
Yeah.
funny part, Sean, here, and this is a story worth mentioning. Remember, this is side hustle. This is not part of my income. This is not part of my budget.
Right.
Much of what I earn here, I funnel to crypto. So
This is the crypto budget.
if I lose money in crypto, I just have to bake more salmons, pastas and roast beef, diba? So parang,
Yeah. Yeah.
so a big chunk of it has funneled into some investments, and yeah, and we're doing in a way that parang I think I can put my car payments can come from this. So parang ganun na. So learning can do other things. So we've seen that. Subsidize our food costs, and kaya nga lang, Sean, sometimes pagod na kami, ang dami kong ginawa, nag-grab food na lang ako for dinner.
Oh, yun lang.
Peanuts eh. Plus my kids doesn't want to eat this food anymore. So parang, daddy, salmon again.
Yeah.
Steak again. So, yung mga ganun, they grumble when they feed them this food.
Well, one of these days, you're gonna get my order.
Sure.
So, if you want to give Randall more crypto money for his crypto investment, here it is. That's his BPI Gcash. You can order from here,
Yeah.
and you have baked salmon in creamy caper sauce with butter and garlic, Angus roast beef. That sounds good to me. Shrimp marinara linguine and shrimp scampi. Pretty straightforward menu.
Yeah, straightforward, but they're not easy to make. Okay, there's like a lot of them uses secret ingredients that I don't disclose.
sure.
And I do it balanced. Like some people most of the people, I started with the big salmon because most of the salmon you order is dry. And mine's never dry. And then I get friends who, how did you do it? Why is your salmon not dry? Why is it, how do you bake it that way? Kaya, or why is your roast beef not dry? Stuff like that. How do you do that pasta? Why is it still al dente and still savory at the same time? Okay? Why do you use big shrimp? So I have crazy questions. And like, why does it melt in my mouth? So, yun lang. So, yun yung, okay. So, you have to try it.
Yeah. What do you tell them? Special ingredient. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of my pawis. Then
Yeah.
joke. No, but really, really good stuff. Again, one of these days, probably you're gonna get an order from me. Maybe someday soon. But for sure, we want to try it out. Me and Apple are excited about that. Here's the next question. As a pillar of the Philippine financial industry, what are the common mistakes a financial advisor makes, and how can they avoid them?
Okay, wag naman pillar. That makes me look so old, no? Okay, so financial advisor, biggest mistake is the only thing in your mind is selling. It has to be greater than that. It has to be advocating. It has to be really educating people, and the sale is a byproduct of doing your job well. That's why in 2005 I co-founded the Registered Financial Planner Institute, because we need to change the way people are doing this. So that's the biggest mistake. Of course, making a sale is part of what you do. It's your based on that. But if you make your work just about selling, you won't last very long. You have to have a deeper purpose in doing what you're doing. So how do you avoid it? Understand why you are an advisor and how you can build value to other people.
Really good stuff. We have a question here about ADA Cardano. So what do you like most about ADA Card? I don't know if you have a blog about that. I haven't checked yet.
I'm careful kasi anything I say, it's like a recommendation, no? So, but personally, just this is just I'm very transparent with these things. That's my biggest exposure, no? Cardano. I mean, all of my cryptos, that's number one, followed by Ethereum, and then Bitcoin. So parang number one coin. People think it's gonna be Bitcoin, no? It's Cardano. I like Cardano because number one, because a lot of people, in the what's being used now is Ethereum, no? So ETH is the Ether is being used a lot in the systems. And I'm not a tech guy. Maybe Sean, you can answer that. But there's a lot of flaws with Ethereum also. It's slow, gas fees are high, scalability is an issue. And here comes a company like Cardano who built on things, because he co-founded Ethereum to begin with, built on and corrected the mistakes, and now he has scalability. So that's one. So I guess it's like Ethereum improved version with where it's more ecologically friendly and stuff. Also, I like they've made it the business model with advocacy and in standing for something. So that guy, whatever his name, he wants African nations to apply this. It will bring down corruption, improve poverty, financial inclusion. These things we've been doing, we've been advocating since time immemorial, financial inclusion. But syempre limited kami. I mean, how many people have bank accounts? Okay, so again, so now he's finding a way to not to bypass, but to make it more inclusive. And I believe that's gonna change the future. If they do what they're saying, it's really gonna change. So I'm banking on that, and I hope I'm right in that scenario. That's why I'm a Cardano fan. And from from an investment perspective, I also saw Cardano with the recent decline of the Bitcoin, with the Elon Musk thing, bumaba siya. And I saw Cardano decoupling from the movements of things like Bitcoin. Kasi when Bitcoin moves, everybody follows. Cardano's starting to have a life on its own. So people are slowly seeing, wait, there's something in this coin. Okay, of course, that's a big debate because, other guys, I think Marvin and sila, they really feel it's going to be Ethereum because of the NFT scene. But there's also other people that, wait, this is the next gen. This is where the movement. So application-wise. So finance guy that I am, I put in both, di ba? So I put in both. Although, mas malaki parang kami ni Marvin baligtad. He has more ETH than he has Cardano. I have more Cardano than I have ETH. So we will see na lang. So, but I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Anybody who approaches me and if you want to get into the crypto scene, I have my magic coins. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, okay, BNB because everybody uses Binance, and then VeChain, the other one that I like. So parang these are the coins that I feel are your index. Kumbaga sa they are index type. They're the things that we're gonna change. So I like that. So when people ask me crypto, alam mo, iba yung mundo ng crypto. When they ask me, so sir, you're long-term holder. Parang ganun ang tingin nila, no? Kasi nga, it's what I buy.
Yeah, I agree with Cardano's usability someday. So Ethereum has a lot of use cases right now, but it's also expensive already. So that's one thing. It's also
economics to, Sean, diba? At the end of the day, if somebody does it cheaper, faster, there's always going to be a gravitation towards that. So, and just that's an economist to me. So, but if Cardano doesn't do what it's saying, then there's Ethereum. So, Parang okay.
Yeah. You're hedged well
It's
there.
like it's like I'm trying to vote for two presidents at the same time.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. The follow-up question. Oh well, the next question would be: what advice do you give your kids with regards to building wealth and managing finances?
All right. Here's the people are surprised, no, because I'm the finance guy. People think, no, that my kids are really expert in finance and all these things, or the way we talk. Contrary to popular belief, I do not open my PowerPoint during the dining table and turn on my put it on my TV and talk about these things. I do have a little bit of talks with them, but it's not like that. As a parent, no, it's really more like setting examples for them. I want them to see that daddy niya is hardworking, doesn't spend unnecessarily, takes care of the future, and they see it that way. And from time to time, we remind them, oh, you need to save, but I don't force it. At the end of the day, kasi number one, there's way too much pressure on the kids. Yeah, and Sean, you're in a public eye. I mean, everybody's, you don't want to add on to that pressure to your kids. So I'm very careful about that. I want them to make their mistakes. I want them to learn from those mistakes, and even finances. So I teach them the basics, no, like basics, like when they were very young. I teach them that money needs to be earned. So value of work. Kasi a lot of I want them to understand that my money is my money, it's not theirs. So they have to earn it, they have to create it. So work on it. So yeah, number one. Number two, I teach them how to spend properly. Para hindi naman lahat ng gusto nila, they buy it. So number three, which following that, it means that they need to save. That all of their money is being spent, save. And finally, I also teach them to give. Kasi generosity needs to be taught. Because if they teach it, sobrang baka maging swapa, they think it's all about that. So earn, spend, save, give. These are the things that the more basics that I taught them. Then later on, when I save niya, sabi ko, I'll teach them, let's put it in a mutual fund. And now they're older, parang my wife said, paturo mo ng crypto. Sabi ko, alam mo, mahirap masana yung isang tao na kumita kagad ng malaki tapos without really exerting that much effort. You're teaching them the wrong values. Diba? So, look at those young crypto millionaires. Parang they don't do anything anymore, anything productive, anything of value because they have money. And what do they do? They spend it in, I don't know where they spend it, but that's not the kind of value systems that I want to teach my kids. I want them to work hard and then later be wise in managing money. So I will not give them the secrets and all these things. They have to learn it. And they have to see it from me. Just like I picked up a lot of my entrepreneurial skills, I picked it up a lot from my dad. So ganun lang. My dad naman doesn't, do us, I mean, he's been a businessman all his life. He's not gonna give us lectures and talk about it. We see it, then we ask about it. When we're a little bit older, we got more curious. Sometimes he involves me, he asks for my opinion. So yung mga ganyan. So that's why I learned.
Galing. And that's also in the Bible, in Proverbs, no? Money fast gained is fast gone as well.
So yeah. So again, to my tip to parents, you have to be very careful. Don't try to teach everything to your kids naman parang kasi they will, part of the learning is experimenting, trying things, making mistakes, and yeah, don't compare your kids with other kids. I mean, that's a challenge now because now you're seeing Instagram families, perfect, all these things.
Yeah.
I protect my kids from that. The pressure of society. No, they'll make things. I mean, now two of them are adults. I'd like to say I taught them something that they're practicing, pero far from the public eye. So
Galing. That's good stuff, and I'm learning from you as well.
Yeah, grabe yan. And I've seen a lot of people. Yeah, we homeschool our kids. Okay, and here's the problem, man. Everybody, it's in church. A lot of people homeschool their kids. See, ganito, meron silang homeschool. Tapos they're called something dynasty, or mga ganyan. And then parang everything's perfect. My kids are not like that. This room is a study room for homeschool, which they never use because they prefer in the dining table, in their bed, and there's nothing wrong with that. My son, when he entered senior high, regular school, he became an honor student kagad. So parang, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, you have to be careful and you understand the uniqueness of your children, even in finances. Basta important nakita nila sa the parent. Alam nila. And, here's the thing that we teach in behavioral finance. If your bond with your children is good, there's a high tendency they will repeat what you're doing. So, I'm banking onto that. And I've seen this with my two elder daughters. So parang they have a good head on their shoulders. I mean, they wouldn't say that they're stock market expert. They do, they do cost averaging. They, when they start to work, they invest. Now that they're married, their husbands are doing. Yan ang kausap ko lagi yung husbands. So we even have a group chat for our crypto. So with my son-in-law.
Wow.
That's
good.
Whatever I learn, I put it there. Whatever they did, I put it there. And so, ganon.
Galing. That's really good. Really good. Here's the next question. What are the best investments for beginners to try during the pandemic?
So, assuming that you're handling your finances well, no? Assuming that you have enough savings, emergency funds, and if you're married or you have insurance, assuming you have that and you're managing your debt, as in, kasi kung may utang ka, I'll tell you, pay your debt first. Kasi, you're paying interest on that. But if you're starting in this pandemic, one of the good things that you can take a look at are equities as the stock market because they have gone down. Prior to the pandemic, it's hard to buy these stocks because they were very expensive. They're very expensive. So now that there's a discounting factor because of what happened to the economy, then you can get into that. So either you select really good companies that you think is going to do really well as we recover faster, or you can just go into an equity fund or an index fund wherein, very passive way of doing it. That's, for me, is a good investment for you. Other things that you can take a look at is maybe an online business that you can manage better. Na hindi ka masyado naglabas ng kapital, but you try it out. That's something you do. Like my side hustle, it didn't start with the only capital I put up is the ingredients. The oven is there. Although, may casualty na yan. My oven, which I realized wasn't really a good quality oven, broke down. So I So I buy a kind of pricier one. So it was an excuse to get a nicer oven. Now that I can justify it. Like, if you're cooking, you like your tools then. So parang I can do a cheaper version, but okay. And now I have a way to recover the cost better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because you're making money out of it. It's an asset. Yeah.
Asset na siya. So, but it's a nice asset. No, I like the way I was looking at it. I love it. So I want to buy it.
That's good. The next question would be, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are financing their first business from their own pockets?
Well, una good for you. And I never recommend somebody to start it with a debt and borrow money to start up. That's very risky. That's very dangerous. My only advice to you is take it slowly. I mean, number one, good business does not happen because you have good capital. Okay, I'm sure, Sean, you did not start with a big amount of capital. You're building it as you come, right?
Yes.
Because a good businessman, a good entrepreneur, teka, ba't ko tatayaan to? Baka, diba? I want to make sure that there's a return before I put money into it. So, like, well, maybe now you've scaled up, but, I remember seeing you, let's do it this way, then it can sustain. So, that's how you finance your business. Of course, your initial capital is required. Just in my case, my initial capital was the ingredients. Then I built on. Before I bought a new oven, I think I probably baked 140 or 150 already. So now I can justify the oven. So alam mo yung mga ganyan bagay. So you start it, but don't try to put resources there until you've seen it's gonna work. And then even if you put resources, be careful lang. There's a story that my good friend Dodong Kakanando always says. So it's you have to build your abilities first. Resources, true entrepreneur should be resourceful. That's one. Doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of resources, especially capital. same story, rich kids, rich kids like Sean, uh, their parents will send them to Switzerland to study culinary because they have money pag uwi. Oh, sige, that I want to put up my restaurant in the BGC and they have capital. They'll put up 6 months after sarada. Bakit? Marunong kang mag-culinary, may capital ka, but you forgot how to run a restaurant, manage people, marketing, cash flow management. You forgot all of these things. The resources spoiled you. The resources did not teach you the abilities, did not teach you those things. Somebody who started from a food cart and built it up will really outperform you. So those are very important. So be careful with your cash flow. Ano lang yan, labas mo lang yan as needed. As needed.
Yeah,
Then
that's
later
true.
on, when you're expanding, then that's another story. Kasi you have a track record na. Let's say, okay to, maganda to. Now, Christmas season, you're anticipating for then maybe I could put a little bit more money in. Pero alam mo na yan, di ba? Meron kang exit out, meron kang way out.
Yeah, and you probably have a better projection, more
Mhm.
stable
Yeah.
projection as well. So definitely agree with that. Yeah, for you guys who are tuning in and whoever asked the question, that's also how I did it. 1,300 pesos. That's my capital. I wasn't a rich kid. I got kicked out of the house. Ulak ball. And yeah, actually, to be
Kasi
honest,
money does not beget money eh. Yeah,
yeah,
Di ba we say money beget? Money doesn't beget money. It's you who makes the money. And these are just resources
yeah,
that you use. So, and I do risk planning a lot. Eh. So ako very careful ako. You want to do business? Ano exit dito? Ano exit plan? How do you, what's burn rate? Kasi, in the modern business, di ba, burn rate and all these things, they're putting in money and all these things. I'm still old school when it comes to that. So, I don't wanna lose everything. Hirap kitain ng pera, di ba? Hirap ipunin. Only for you to
yeah.
burn it. But in the past, I've been burned. So, we kind of learn the lessons from that.
Yeah, those companies who are looking at burn rate, they have deep pockets most of the time. That's why.
And they're not burning their own money.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and don't burn your money. So.
Yeah. I mean, who does that, right? Just light up your money. You don't do that. So, the next question: what do you think are the best monetary goals for beginners to set?
Okay. Again, it starts with you understanding how money moves around in your life. You have to have a good control over what comes in and what goes out. So you have to have a sound cash flow structure. So very important. So that's very important. I mean, goals are important, pero the mechanism to get to those goals is just as important. So some goals, number one, there has to be a savings goal. I mean, how much money? If you're talking about emergency funds, it's like 3 to 6 months of your monthly spending. Or pandemic taught us, maybe you need a little bit longer, more. So that's one. Second, what are you looking for? What are you preparing? What are your priorities? You want to buy a house when you're 30? You feel like you're going to get married at, let's say, 35, 28. So these are goals. The more specific it is, the better. And in a way, it kind of motivates you, because you're trying to build on towards that goal. Then when you do that, then you identify what are the instruments do I use for these things. Example, you're 21, you want to build a house at 30. Now you have a 9-year span. Then maybe you can do, stock market equities, and that's going to change. But assuming that you wanna use this money for your marriage, you plan to get married in 2 years. Maybe you should not put it in the stock market. Maybe you should think, maybe you take a look at, less risky stuff. So those are important. Those are goals that you need to identify and define as early as you can. And be specific about those goals.
Good stuff. From Pam, very straightforward questions. Which investments have the best returns?
You have a lot of questions. Are you always like this? Like, are you burning with questions? No. By the way, just to be clear, hindi po planted questions to, no? I didn't even get to talk to Sean about this. Because sometimes those are not real questions. Those are planted questions. They're not. They're real questions.
Yeah.
Best return, that's relative. I can tell you crypto, no? Because you cannot see 4x, 5x, 10x, 11x anywhere except crypto. Not even in business, actually, di ba? I mean, it will take time.
Yeah.
But you can also get burned there. So again, that's a question. Or I can say, I put my money in GCash. It earns me 4% gross. I don't worry about anything. It's liquid. And then for some people, that's a best return. So, or some people say, no, I want somewhere in between, like an index fund that, long-term growth and give me 14, 15% per annum in the next 10 years. So that has to be an important. You have to understand risk-return relationship. No? High return will always entail higher risks. So what is important is that, are you aware of the risk that you're taking? And you understand that without risks, there is not going to be a return. Because return is always going to be a function of the risk that you take. So knowing that in mind, that question, that's a question that you have to have a deeper thought. Okay? Kasi, why? What are you investing for? Are you willing to put a lot of money? Like in the case of, siguro me and Sean, we're not going to put 50% of whatever we have on crypto. I mean, if Sean does that, I know I'm gonna receive a call from Apple, no? So I can talk to my
not gonna happen.
do that. Hirap kitain ng pera, di ba? I mean, those things are very important. So you have to know those questions first, and just never invest in something you don't understand. And that's the reason it took me 3 years to get into cryptocurrency. Now, in hindsight, I should have gone earlier, but hindi rin eh. I probably won't be very comfortable also if I did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, the best time I think is when you know that it's the right time for you. You
When
did
you're
the
ready.
homework. Yeah. When you're ready, exactly. Yeah. Follow-up question for that. What is a simple rule for managing your finances? Also from Pam.
Okay. Well, number one, simple rule. I'm a married person, been married 30 years now. What is mine is my wife's. What is my wife's is my wife's. So that's like the best. That's a joke. Anyway, so sabi ng wife ko, what is yours is mine, what is mine is mine. That's the rule. No? That's the only rule I live by. I guess sa akin, number one is I respect money. I don't, I know money is immoral and everything, but I respect money. I know its limitation. And I also need to manage my behavior around it. I heard this from Marvin. No, that's not wrong for you to have money. What is wrong is for money to have you. So money for me is just a great tool, but not the end goal. Okay, so that's very clear sa akin. Ang rules ko, number one, and this is just me sharing it. Okay, automatic, I tithe. Okay, this is a value system that I'm not saying. I'm not gonna get into debate. Should you tithe or not? But this is something that my wife and I believe in and practice it and stand by it. So we tithe. Next, okay, we save. Not everything that we understand, we save. We have to provide for the family's needs. That's clear. But we also save. So apart from providing, we're also saving. That saving will lead into investing. And also, we give. A big part of our income is used to support missionaries, campus missionaries, long-term missionaries in the advancement of God's kingdom. This is on top of our tithes. And my joke is the amount of money we support is like pwedeng bumuhay ng isang pamilya pa. Parang ganon. So, because that's our value system. And that's important. And that's why I work. During the pandemic, Sean, syempre, di ba, when March hit, well, what are we going to do? Everybody, like all of us, di naman kami salaried people. So parang, and then we're giving salaries. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? How long will this last? I'm looking at, do I need to liquidate? Do I sell something? How much money do I? So ganoon na ako mag-isip. And then one of the things that bothered me in a good way is that, hey, I support a lot of these missionaries and, give money to those things. What's going to happen to them? They are dependent on what we give them. I mean, not just me, but collectively. So if I stop and everybody should stop, paano na sila? So I made this prayer, Sean. Lord, can you continue to give me work so that I can continue to support? And the Lord was so gracious. No, I never stopped working. In fact, I think I got busier. I never stopped working, and not only did I not continue supporting, I added even more last year. And I think this year I'm gonna add. I think I also added. So alam mo yun, and I even increased my support to some of them because I feel, inflation and everything. Kasi I'm assuming that some people were not able to support them, so I have to, level up a little bit.
Wow, that's amazing. That's very encouraging. That's a very encouraging thing
Yeah.
to share here.
Kasi remember, like March, diba? I mean, everyone is like, okay, what do we do? Then
Yeah.
April, that scare of 1 week, 2 weeks, teka, this is taking longer. So all my projects were put in hold. I was about to travel. I was supposed to go to Dubai. I had like a crazy schedule supposed to be for 2020. I was supposed to go to India. I was supposed to go to Dubai, Qatar, Mongolia. I got invitations there. Of course, the usual Singapore, Japan, and there. It's all put there. Icon is gonna be Icon because we've made Icon national na, no? Like prior to that, we have Manila, Cebu, Manila, Davao, and Iloilo. So this time, then I think everything was planned, and then boom, pandemic happened. What do I do? Okay, so trust the Lord more and ask Him. And so give Him the wisdom. Oh, alam mo, Randell, you've put this up so for long, but it's time for you to learn how to use digital. So parang madalian, I have to learn how Zoom works and nakakatawa nga si Marvin, my friend, no? I kept mentioning. Sabi niya, Miyong, I didn't understand. Parang nagulat ako, you're like a Zoom expert now because we were doing this meeting, then, this tech guy said, no, this is what you do. Parang nagulat siya. How did you learn all of these things? I had to. Not only I need to do that because I need to support, but I also need to, my money is not just for me. It's for something that's bigger than that.
Amen. That's really, that's so encouraging. And a lot of people, and during that time, same predicament. Me and Apple, we also support missionaries, campus missionaries, even some pastors. Napaisip din ako. Sabi ko, our clients are not paying. March to June, a lot of them didn't pay, and I prayed same as you. What I haven't done yet is to increase. So good to hear from you that you did that. I'm gonna pray about and talk with Apple because I feel like we have to increase with some of the people we support. But yeah, really good to hear. Really encouraging. That's encouragement. I think that's encouragement for me, and maybe God is telling me.
Us withholding, that's a legitimate reason. It's not that we're swapping anything. That's legit. Because you can only give what you have. What if it's gone down? No? Then that's important that you were able to build your savings, you're able to build your investments. So those things came in. But I'm just thankful I did not touch those things. I was ready. I mean, when push comes, wala naman tayong choice, di ba? It's not that we don't want to. We were ready. But, Sean, just to encourage people, in fact, last year, parang I invested more money last year than I did previous years. That's crazy nga, crazy. Kasi, di ba, our expenses went down, we were not traveling.
Yeah.
Siyempre, di ba, when I travel to talk, merong additional expenses yan. Mga ganun bagay. We were eating out less, di ba? Eating out less, mga ganyan. So, not less, wala talaga. So,
wala talaga.
So, look at it, sabi ko, when I was doing it, wow, I don't think, I invested more money in 2020 than I did in 2020 than I did in 2019. And the funny thing is, there's not a significant jump in my income. And yet there's a significant jump in, money that I invested. So, God is faithful.
God is faithful. Amen. Same story here, guys. So for those of you listening in, it's not about religion. It's about how much faith you have. Give according to your faith. I always say that. People ask me, how much should we give? Well, give according to your faith. What do you think God is trying to tell you to give? For me, listen to that, pray. And it's all about faith. Giving is about faith.
And then here's one I want to throw into Sean also. And I say this is very controversial, especially in the world out there. Everybody wants to be successful and everything. I tell people, we were not called to be successful. We were called to be faithful. And I never forget, it's not about all of the success, followers. I don't really put I don't really put any thought to those things. I don't care how many people follow me. I don't care how many. It's not that I don't appreciate. I do appreciate, but that's not what my calling is for.
Amen. Amen. So we have shout outs from Dennis. Hello, hello. And from
No.
Smoke, watching from YouTube. What's up, Sir Randell and Sir Sean? Hello to you there. Thanks for tuning in. And the last question for tonight, because we're overtime, we're a little bit overtime, but really good stuff happening here. I hope you guys are learning a lot. Again, if you haven't yet, please follow us on YouTube. That's the link right there, leadme.ph/YouTube, or search for Leadership Stack on YouTube. My producers are asking me to share this because we need more followers on YouTube. And Nino is here listening from Clubhouse. Hey, thanks, Nino. Really appreciate you being here tonight. And the last question would be, where should I put... in my 20s. I'm in my 20s. How much should I save?
As much as you can. It's as simple as that. As much as you can. I mean, saving is a muscle that you need to build. So, I mean, of course, you need to save for an objective. Pero generally speaking, I'll tell you as much as you save. One of my regrets is I did not save enough when I was younger. And you can't undo that. So, second rule is as much. I have this rule about maybe at least 20% of what you make, you save, you set aside. If that's possible. And then you build onto that. If it's only 10% or 5%, you start with that, but you build it. Saving is like a muscle. You have to keep on doing it until you get the group. And you'll be surprised. You realize by the year end, wow, I saved this much. Kesa yung year end, what happened to my money? Di ba?
Yeah.
I know, I have years like that. Where did my money really go? So, and all these things. So now, past that already.
Yeah. So as much as you can,
and
if you're anywhere near like
20s pa, kasi probably nakatira pa yan sa parents nila, doesn't pay rent, maybe not paying that much, wala siya nahulog yan. So, alam mo, take advantage of that time.
Yeah. Unless the parents are asking them to pay for some stuff.
That's another story. That's another podcast altogether.
Yeah. So as much,
you're gonna have a lot of questions when you start talking about those things, Sean. You're gonna be flooded with questions.
Nako, oh yeah, kasi ang dami, no? In my team alone, I have 50 people in the team. They're all younger than me. They're in their 20s, and you asked them. In the webinar that you held in SEO Hacker, how many of you are doing this, right? Yeah,
and then what's happening in the country today. So
yeah,
another topic altogether.
Oh man, yeah, true that. So yeah, if you're like Marvin Germa, you probably save 99% of your income because you make.
No, Marvin. During the icon, sabi ko, I take it very simple. I have this belief that money not invested is money going to be spent, and I save, I invest, and I forget about it, and I move on to more important things. Unless you're a Marvin Germo, di ba? Talagang super disciplined, super controlled, super calculating, and all these things. I like my life. I like doing other things. I probably put more thought in the food that I cook than the money that I invest. From that perspective.
Wow. Yeah. Galing.
Kaya nga crypto challenged me because I had to study and all these things. Kasi kabisado ko na rin yung mga funds and everything over the years. Diba? So parang, now I have to study. Oh, okay, teka. Now I have to brush up on, The good thing, I told you I have a GC with my son-in-law. He likes to do the research. He explains to me Sabi ko, bakit mo gusto mo V-chain? Kasi dad, ganito yan. So, supply chain. Now I understand from a business perspective. So,
yeah,
it works that way.
Keeps you on the edge.
Yeah.
From Gillier, shout out, learned a lot tonight. Thank you, Sir Sean and Sir Randell. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. Please do help us by sharing the show, following us on YouTube and Spotify.
Follow me also on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So
yes,
medyo tamad na ako sa content creation, and Sean knows that because he handles my website. I haven't really been posting anything. As against before, I don't know, maybe it's the age catching up.
No, well, how we do it sa content, and I know I got some questions in the Discord channel about this. How we do it sa content, what we do sa podcast and sa YouTube, we transcribe it. So
Yeah.
written word.
Para
There's
hindi ano, no, it's, yeah. But you know,
yeah.
Sean has been
Put
doing
it,
this for
put it
longer than you. You know, you come to a point in time that I have written over like 1,000 articles, columns, blogs.
there.
I've done like how many talks in my life. I've written what 5 books already. So parang ano mo, there comes to a point in time. I tried TikTok. It's not me. I feel so. It was so difficult for me. I didn't know what to do. But I like these things, mga conversations. So that's why if you look at my YouTube, it's. But after a while, who do I talk to now? Parang ganun. Problema, no? So yeah, or it's
Yeah.
really, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. I don't have the muscle like our friends, like Sean, Marvin, Carlo. I mean, they're like machines. I say that because I love my social life also. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To each his own, no? Kanya-kanyang calling and kanya-kanyang way to pay it forward. So this is
I'll do it
my
more.
way. My
I do more content. I hope.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna benefit the world. I mean, yeah, we're all waiting for it. Very nice episode, sabi ni Patrick. Thank you so much. You're welcome. And always, you're always here.
So, Marvin Guillermo, disciple to. So,
Oh,
oh,
apostle yan, apostle.
oh, oh. Okay. Sorry, Patrick. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you learned a lot and hope that Randell has provided so much. I've learned so much tonight from him. I am better for it, and I hope you are as well. And as
Thanks so much.
always, we are on 8 p.m. Thursday nights. Yes, Randall, you were saying, sorry.
Just no. Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Finally natuloy.
Because I made parinig, when Sean invited me, sabi ko, you've invited so many people, but you've never really invited me. No? So, that I invited myself, by the way, just to be clear and be transparent.
No, you're so busy. It's so hard to book you. But yeah, really good stuff. I learned a lot, and I'm so happy to hear you're invested also in crypto, Cardano, and yeah, I learned a lot, and it's good stuff. This is gonna be in the podcast. This is gonna be a Spotify episode. This is gonna be published somewhere August or September, and it's also gonna be in YouTube. So for those of you who want to share it, maybe you have friends who missed it, and you got a nugget or two of wisdom here, please do share it when the episode comes out. It's gonna be first or second week of September, somewhere there. Yeah, most probably. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.